And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, with Game 2 of the series between Glacial, Inferno, and 7 men here. Noxus Division, the last game of the regular season for both these teams. And Glacial Inferno coming with a reversal here in Game 1 to take the win. It was a close run thing, but they managed to pull it off. And for Game 2, 7 men shaking things up, playing musical chairs with their roster. So in the top lane, on the blue side, we've got top lane sucks. That's about the only thing that stays the same. As in the jungle, we've got Mookstar NY going into the jungle once again. In the mid lane, it's going to be Lil Big Baby, the Ascendant, switching to ADC this game. And Alpal's going down to support. So quite a change up here in terms of where everyone is going. And now for the side of Glacial Inferno, they had zero changes. They didn't need any. They absolutely dominated Game 1 here. In the end, Corporate getting that Ezreal. And as we look at the picks and bans here, 7 men on the blue side banning the Ornn, Syndra, Nautilus, Zed, Set. But guess what they left open? Ezreal. And Glacial Inferno banning out the Diana, the Talia, and the Jax as well. So, Lil Big Baby, not a huge Talia player. Talia more of one of Alpal's signature champions, but they banned it anyways, I guess. Pardon me, was a bit of an issue here in Game 1 there. So they just don't want to have to deal with it. And Lil Big Baby, the Diana definitely targeted him, one of his most played champions by far here. And we have seen Mookstar go into the jungle from the ADC position. He plays both extremely well. That Jax is one of his signature champions. So Glacial Inferno just targeting the mid and jungle synergy here. And why not? Windstorm did such a great job Game 1. You want to get Windstorm ahead and let him try and carry from there. And in terms of picks, 7 men insta-picking that Swain there. And Alpals does play Swain. We saw him play it last week in the mid lane. Lil Big Baby, not a huge Swain player, so I am expecting that to be a support Swain with that Aphelios. And Aphelios are really, really strong champions. There was some nerfs coming through on his ultimate, the Moonlight Vigil last patch, but it really hasn't affected his play rate all that much here. We are still seeing a lot of him, and the Ascendant is going to be the one to take him now. So they do have themselves quite a bit of late game strength. We see the Jarvan pick up as well for Mookstar was left open this time, and that's not a Master Yi nor a Xayah. What on earth is 7 men doing? That is actually a Aatrox and a Wukong here. So 7 men's picks are Swain, Aphelios, Jarvan, Aatrox, and Wukong. And that will be an Aatrox for top lane sucks. Again, one of the 2 champions he hard carried on last week. And the Wukong will be for Lil Big Baby. He does play it in the mid lane, so will be an interesting pickup for him. And if we look over to Glacial Inferno, sure enough, you didn't ban the Ezreal. It gets first picked by Corporate once again. And why not? It hard carried them, came back in the late game, and just absolutely destroyed 7 men. And the Thresh as well, once again for Markando, worked really well for him. It was a very defensive Thresh as well. It stopped Team In from being able to engage multiple times with that Death Sentence, with the Flay, and the Lantern to reposition Corporate as well as other people who did get caught out. So it worked last time. Why change it up? In the jungle, though, they are going to go with the Warwick here for Jesus. So they will have a bit of a better initiate here. Not as much a team fight necessarily, but really, really solid single target pick here. And then the Mordekaiser for Mojo Skeletor in the top lane here. Not necessarily one of his most played champions, so we'll have to see how he does in that one. And the Orianna for the side of Windstorm. We have seen him play this Orianna quite a bit in the past. Is a very solid pick for him. And will give them a bit more AoE team fight strength here, because no one else, Warwick, Mordekaiser, Ezreal, not exactly known for their team fighting prowess. And when you look across, 7 men's team does have a lot of team fight strength here. And with that, we are headed over onto the Rift now, where both teams are spawning. And once again, it is going to be Glacial Inferno with that 1-0 advantage right now. So they can afford to play a little more dangerous here. Instead, it looks like they're just going to be defensive potentially. No, they might actually. Yep, they're just spreading out to stop any invades right here. And the issue with this game is it's not quite the same as Game 1, where 7 men couldn't scale. They do actually scale quite well with the Aphelios this game. So if it runs into the ultra late, it actually would go in favor of 7 men rather than Glacial Inferno. So now with the shoes on the other foot, and it's up to Glacial Inferno to try and win in that 20-30 minute window that they have here, because 20-30 minutes is one of, when you see the Aphelios Ezreal matchup, which is extremely common right now in pro play, there's sort of 3 ADCs, Varus, Aphelios, Ezreal, Varus almost being permabanned. So you see the Aphelios Ezreal matchup where one team gets one and the other team picks the other. Ezreal is actually weaker in the early and in the late, because Ezreal needs that 2-3 item spike to become powerful, and he usually hits that spike at about 20 minutes. So that 20 to 30 minute mark is roughly where you're going to see Ezreal be the stronger ADC here. And so Corpit has that small window to try and carry his team. We did see Glacial Inferno knowing how to stall, so if they do fall behind, I have no doubt they'll be able to wait at least that long. But the issue now is that they can't afford to let Ascendant scale too much here. And we do see the teleport once more from Corpit, so he will be slightly weaker in lane here. Makes sense, he's looking for that late scaling. Said I'm going to be looking at top lane for Mojo Skeletor to show that he can really handle top lane sucks in the 1v1, because last game he was running the Ornn here, so definitely, and he actually, despite running the Ornn, he was actually winning that matchup quite handily as well. So if he can look to be the one to win this, then Mojo, they could win off the top lane pressure. So I am expecting that to be where Glacial Inferno's focus is here in game 2. Bot lane, we are seeing quite a lot of damage back and forth. Corpit being the target here is going to take quite a bit of damage for now. And we did see this matchup in game 1 with the Thresh versus the Swain here, and it was the Swain getting the poke down early in the beginning, but we'll have to see if Alpals can do the same as the Ascendant here in terms of being able to play that Swain. Now Mokstar invading onto Jesus, aggressive invade, does manage to find Jesus, but it's going to be Jesus, it looks like, picking up the red buff there. Mokstar potentially going to be able to get the kill. The flash coming out from Jesus, and both of them going to turn away here. And it's going to be Jesus turning around, the twin flashes, and it's going to be Jesus the one winning this one here. Well played from Jesus. That's going to be really good for Glacial Inferno, since they're the ones on the clock. They don't want to be the one falling behind. And with that, that's already an early 600 gold lead. Down in the bot lane, Markando just going aggressively onto Alpals. The root comes up, but it's going to land to Corpit. But look at the damage from the Chakrams. Already at level 3, the Ignite comes down. Is the Ascendant going to flash to get the kill? No, he is not. Instead, they're going to let Markando get away with that. A little surprising that they didn't try and finish that one off. And that's going to be a win here for Glacial Inferno, that they survived. Because that's the Ignite down now for Alpals. Mid lane, Jesus just runs in and wrecks the monkey. Apparently, wolves are stronger than monkeys. Who would have thought? Complete drive-by there, and that's 2 kills for Jesus. And that's going to set Lil Big Baby behind on this Wukong as well. The Wukong pick, I mean, that's a pick that wants to win the lane early here, wants to be able to dominate the Orianna. So if he does fall behind too far, it's going to be really difficult for him to have an impact in these fights, or even in the lane as well. And that gank from Jesus is the issue there. Jesus himself is also upper level from Mokstar, from that early invade from Mokstar, and that one just unfortunate, very unfortunate. That it really could have gone either way, but the fact that it went the way of Jesus is just going to set 7 men back. And it's the opposite of what happened in game 1 here, where 7 men managed to pull ahead. Now we're seeing Glacial Inferno do that, but they're the ones with the earlier composition, so 7 men just need to stall out, basically. If they don't feel confident in winning the fights, they just need to stall out. But a lot of that will revolve around objectives as well, because last game, Glacial Inferno managed to steal objectives to stop the Soul from coming online too early. And so 7 men needs to make sure they don't give over too many dragons or objectives in the early game. A flash from top lane sucks, being forced out here by Mojo Skeletor. And Mojo Skeletor looking like he's going to be able to win this lane by himself. Is down a little bit of CS for now, but we'll have to see how that one goes. Now, level 6 here for Windstorm, for Mojo Skeletor. The solo lane's already at 6. They are in a good position to go for this early Drake. It is going to be the Ocean Drake here, the strongest first Drake. Jesus is in that bot side, did clear out the vision as well. So he can solo it because this is a Warwick. Warwick, very, very strong sustain. Has to be careful though because Mookstar is coming by as well. And there's no wards in the area. He's going to drop a control ward into the pit. Will spot out Jesus, know that he was not actually doing the Drake yet. And very patient play here from Jesus. Little Big Baby now has hit 6. So if he were to come down, if there was a fight breaking out at Dragon, both the mid laners would have their ultimates available. And it looks like they are actually going to try and fight for this one here. Everybody showing up. That's a 4v4. The top laners, no teleport. So this is as big as it's going to get. But after a bit of a posturing contest, everybody just backing off. And no one gets the Ocean Drake at the end of the day there, interestingly enough. And part of this lead we are seeing growing here for the side of Glacial Inferno is just straight laning. Top lane Mojo Skeletor is losing the CS war, but in the bot lane, Corpit actually up quite a bit of CS as well. And that's a lot from the pressure that Mark Ando is putting up. You can see how aggressively he's positioning in that bot side right now. Is going to take a lot of poke for it. Every time he messes that up, he will be punished in return. So has to be a little careful there to make sure that he doesn't lose too much. Top side though, top lane sucks getting back to lane. It seems the tide seems to have turned a little bit as top lane sucks gonna be bullying Mojo Skeletor up a little bit here. And that's gonna hurt in terms of being able to apply pressure. And now Jez is finally coming back to the Ocean Drake. Mookstar not in the area. Bot lane, the fight breaks out here. And the root coming down onto Mark Ando, onto Corpit. They are both extremely low, and that's going to be Ascended punishing them both back right now. But they don't know that the dragon's being done. Alpal's dropping a ward into the river, and that's going to be Ocean Drake going the way of Glacial Inferno here. So they lose the fight in the bot lane, but they win across the map really because that Ocean Drake is definitely worth an early back. It's only Mark Ando going back to base actually. Corpit going to stay around, make sure he gets himself a little bit more CS. He's sitting on about 2,000 plus gold here in pocket. And he does not want to stick around. He needs to spend that gold because the Ascendant already going to be coming back to lane with a BS sword and boots. Is going to have a ton of lane pressure with that if Corpit does not try and match the buy here. Mid lane, interesting choice from Windstorm. He's going for a tier here. Not the most common pickup we see from Oriana's. It does mean that he's not going to have as much lane damage as well. He does have blue buff, so can very, very quickly stack that tier up here. Will be stronger in the mid game. And he's going to go back potentially look... Oh, no, he's not. Well, I thought he was going to go back and get the Lost Chapter for himself. Has enough gold there. 1,300 the cost of that one. Bot lane, Corpit looking to go back to base, but is going to get interrupted by that Vision of the Empire from Alpals there. And the question now is Ascendant going to freeze this or is he going to look to push? It looks like they're going for the freeze here. And why not? Corpit straight up buying the Manamune for himself, so that will be a nice bit of damage. But while it is very, very gold efficient, it doesn't really become all that strong till he gets the full stacks on it here. So with that BF sword for the Ascendant, I'm not sure Corpit can quite go toe-to-toe at this point. We'll have to see what happens in their next trades here. Jez is looking once more to that mid lane, but unfortunately for him, Windstorm just shoved that one out, so won't be able to find anything in here. Instead, he's going to go and pick the Herald up instead. The objective focus here from Glacial Inferno is strong, and really that's all you need to do. 7 men doing a great job so far. The gold lead not growing at all since those first 2 deaths. They're only up about 800 gold. So aside from the 2 deaths so far, 7 men not actually really falling too far behind here. Mojo Skeletor again taking a beating in that top lane. Able to fire back quite evenly this time though. Windstorm and Jesus pick up the Herald, but Jesus has to be careful. He doesn't want to run into this. The flag and drag comes across, and now Jesus is stuck in this fight. Cataclysm is available. Instead, it's going to be Infinite Duress here. The command shockwave is late, will not find him. Doesn't matter though, Jez is able to flash out, get that kill there now. Lil Big Baby has to be careful. Is going to take the blast cone, will be able to get away to safety, but that's still yet another kill going the way of Glacial Inferno. The shield goes on to Mojo Skeletor, will keep him safe. Bot lane though, Alpals gets dragged under turret, and the turret can't find him, but the Ignite surely will, and he's gonna go down in the bot side. A little overzealous there. Getting locked up under the turret. Herald Shelly going to be dropped into the top side, and they are looking to potentially take this top turret. Top lane sucks, getting dove under the turret right now. Jez is tanking this one up. He's got enough sustain. He was full health, and that's yet another kill. 3 kills right now in the last 30 seconds here, going the way of Glacial Inferno. They are starting to put the pedal to the metal here. The only concern is out of those 3 kills, almost all of them, 2 out of 3 of them ended up on Jesus on this Warwick. So it's definitely going to be up to Jesus to translate that lead into the lanes here. He needs to make sure he does that. If not, all that gold is not going to be quite efficient enough. And so far, Jesus has been focused very heavily on the top side of the map. He's ganked for Mojo. He's ganked for Windstorm. He hasn't looked at all into this bot lane, but he does need to start thinking about it, because the Ascendant is the win condition here for 7 men. If he gets ahead, he can solo carry games 1v9 on the Aphelios here. Topside Mojo Skeletor manages to get the first turret of the game at 12 minutes. It's a really early first turret take here with the assistance of Shelly. He's going to keep fighting top lane sucks, but he might be ahead right now, but he has not translated that into the items just yet. Instead, top lane sucks is the one who just went back to base. Can he find the kill? No, he can't, and top lane sucks with that Kindle Gem, with the Null Magic Mantle there, is able to turn that around. Now Windstorm looking to try and find a kill. The beautiful command shockwave pulls him back, and top lane sucks just watches as he dies there. A 1-for-1 trade in that top lane. And Windstorm benefiting a lot right now from these sort of fights here. Is able to pick up a bunch of assists for himself. Is able to push up the wave as well. Lil Big Baby has to get in a bit of a dangerous position, but now Windstorm walking right into the middle of Muxar. The flag and drag comes across. Vision of the Empire with the slow as well. But they're going to back out because Jesus has arrived, and now it's Alpals caught in the middle of 4 here. The Demon Flare isn't going to do anything at all. And now Muxar trying to find Windstorm there. Cataclysm comes down, but he's going to die before he lands. What goes up and doesn't come down? Apparently it's Muxar. And that's going to be a free dragon now for Glacial Inferno, as they found 2, one of which being the jungler here. So there's no smite available for the side of 7 men. And top lane sucks getting dragged into the pit against his will. The grab over the wall almost going down. Does manage to get out safely though. Did not have any summoners to expend, so that won't be wasted. And suddenly, Glacial Inferno up 8-1 right now, finding themselves a 4,500 gold lead, 2 dragons under their belt, and it's going to be once again the Cloud Soul here for this map. And Corporate with that Manamune, I don't know if you managed to see it there, but stacking about 1/3 of the way already here. With the 2 assists, his pace has not really been accelerated too much, but more importantly, the Ascendant's pace has not been accelerated. And as long as he can keep up, he's still got time. We've got about 5.5 minutes before we really start seeing Corpit start to come online here. And that's going to be that window of opportunity for Glacial Inferno to try and get a lead so big that 7 men basically can't deal with it. And Mojo Skeletor, interestingly enough, opting for the Glacial, for the Morello Nomicon as his first item here. He really wants to cut the sustain of top lane sucks in these extended fights, and it seems to be working so far. They're both in the death realm, and top lane sucks gonna get taken down this time in the 1v1. And that's really bad news for 7men when their side lanes, their solo lanes start to lose out here in the mid lane. Lil Big Baby also having a bit of difficulty dealing with Windstorm. Can't clear the wave out quite as quickly. He opted to start the Maw of Malmortius as his first item, and that's great to try and fight Windstorm, but not so great trying to deal with the roaming of Windstorm here. He can't match the clearing of the waves, and so he's always late to the party, and that shows right now. He's 0-1-0 compared to Windstorm's 1-0-5 right now. And we do see Muxtar making his way into the bot lane. He's clearing out the vision as he goes wherever he sees it. Fortunately, he's missed quite a few here. There's one in the pit, one in the pixel bush. And that's a bit of time wasted. Right now, 7men just struggling to get themselves onto the board. They've got the 1 kill right now from top lane Sucks, but that was a 1v1 sort of situation there. And other than that, they've been falling steadily behind. And yes, we saw Glacial Inferno make an epic comeback, but they also weren't that terribly far behind in lane. If you are the side of 7men, this is exactly what you do. Find the catch. They're going hard on Markando. Can they find him? Yes, they can. The Moonlight Vigil doing work, but unfortunately, right now, it looks like the Ascendant doesn't have the Chakrams. He's got Infernum, and there we go. Now he's unlocked the Chakrams. Can they find Corporate? Yes, they can, and that kill is going to go over the way of Alpals. Now, Windstorm getting caught out in the jungle by top lane Sucks and Lil Big Baby as well. He's going to take a lot of damage, and they're going to dive this one, and suddenly 3 members of Glacial Inferno down. And just as I was worried for 7men, they fire back, they answer, and they close some of that gold gap that was opening up here. And 7men do have to be a little bit careful here. They are very physically stacked, but magic-wise, they're lacking damage, and they're relying solely on Alpals right now. And that bot lane turret does go down. Ascendant finds it, and that's going to be a teleport wasted from Corporate here. But Jesus has shown up in the bot lane. Topside, Mojo Skeletor trying to fight 1v2. Jesus coming down. He's 5-0-1. He's really fed. And trying to gank a... The camera's going insane here. Alpals will go down. It's going to be Jesus. Nope. Yep, Jesus picking up the double kill there. He finds the Ascendant topside. Mojo Skeletor getting ganked. But trying to gank a Mordekaiser after 6 is always an iffy situation. And he brings top lane Sucks with him into the Death Realm, handles that 1v1, pops out, and is ready for more against Muxtar here. Now, Lil Big Baby, the one has to be careful. We see the flash coming out Corporate. He wants to make sure he can continue sticking on here onto Lil Big Baby. Will he be able to get out? Yes, he can. Takes the Blast Cone out, and now Mojo Skeletor not going to be able to find this one. A good escape here from Lil Big Baby. Now, we do see, unfortunately, Jesus on the hunt here. He's 8-0-1 right now. This man in the jungle is an absolute monster here. He's just been all over the place. The highest KP on his team, 9 out of 13 kills with him getting in on it. And he gets 8 of those kills there. Right now, no one can really match him. And he is actually the richest person on the Rift right now. About 3,000 gold up from his jungling opponent here. It doesn't quite show in the items just yet because he's sitting on almost 2,000 gold. Does need to go and spend it, but anybody has to be careful. The Infinite Duress is available. Is he going to jump over? Yes, yes, he's going to find top lane Sucks here. Is there going to be enough damage to take top lane Sucks down? Maybe, because the command shockwave comes up, but the healing is disgusting. Flag and drag coming out from Muxtar. They managed to take Windstar down. Now it's going to be Jesus. He was legendary. No more. Instead, he's going to give a 700 gold bounty over to the Ascendant of all people. And that's not good for Glacial Inferno. That's the Aphelios here feeding. Already has the Infinity Edge complete. As soon as he gets that Hurricane, he's really going to be online. You do see Mojo Skeletor in that bot lane. Did manage to get himself at least a turret to even up the turret score a little bit. And now Mojo Skeletor taking a lot of damage from this dragon there. He's running in, but has to be careful. He's 1v3 right now. Can he get away? Corporate trying to pump out some damage. Lanterns comes out from Markando. And that will keep Mojo Skeletor safe for now. And the dragon right now being done by 7men. We do see Glacial Inferno responding, but they are probably going to be there too late. Muxtar manages to get that one. Does he have the flag and drag? Yes, he does. He can get out the pit. Everybody from 7men getting out safe here. And they shrink that gold gap to only a 3,000 gold gap right now. The kill gap was at 9-1 at one point. It's now only 13-6. So has closed a little bit. And more importantly, they got a massive shutdown onto the Ascendant. He's got the Hurricane. And now suddenly Glacial Inferno has to be careful of these team fights. They're going to need to spend resources to make sure the Ascendant dies at the beginning of fights and doesn't get to just pump out damage non-stop. Normally, this is where we see the Ezreal start to come online, start to out-damage the Aphelioses in the fights here. But unfortunately, Corpit, not enough money, only has the Mana Mune stacking, not even a Mira Mana yet, and he does not have the Trinity Force either, so will be in a bit of bother here for these fights. It's going to come down to, does the Ascendant live? If he lives, 7 men wins their fights. If he dies, Glacial Inferno takes those. And Mojo Scouter in that top lane getting a lot of damage down. But look at the damage the Ascendant manages to pull out there. Just 3 autos is going to chunk Mojo Scouter down to half health. He manages to heal back up. Will be just fine for now. Both teams looking to leave their top laner split, pushing there. The death sentence lands, but it's onto Alpals, not onto the Ascendant. A beautiful command shockwave. The Ascendant's dead. This means that Glacial Inferno can look for a fight. And we do see top lane Sucks getting dragged into the death realm here by Mojo Skeletor, but it's under his own turret. Can they find it? Can they kill? And we see Lil Big Baby being disconnected here. Does come back in, but unfortunately it might potentially have been bad timing, because we do see now this top lane, the Baron being taken here. And was it the mid lane turret going down, or was it the bot lane? Another turret going down in favor of Glacial Inferno. Unfortunately, didn't manage to catch that there. Was trying to figure out what happened with the disconnect. And that's going to be Glacial Inferno picking up an early Baron here. 22 minutes. Mojo Skeletor getting collapsed on once again. But when will they learn? Ganking a Mordekaiser is not the brightest idea unless both the people can make sure that they can get the kill here. That chunk from Windstorm, his Archangel staff fully stacked now. The Serap's Embrace, meaning he's doing quite a bit of damage here. Jesus as well with the Thornmail completed. Flag and drag coming across from Muxar, but he has to be careful here. Will have to flash out. Now True Shot Barrage coming across. Mojo Skeletor taken low. Does not have the Death Realm available actually, so might potentially go down here. Instead it's going to be top lane Sucks getting collapsed on. He's gonna go down. They trade the top laners' lives here. And now Muxar running for the hill. Corpit has arrived. Cataclysm backwards to just buy time will not be good enough. Windstorm picking up the double kill. Lil Big Baby with the Cyclone catches many, but it's not enough. There's no follow-up damage. He's gonna go down. Jez is diving the turret. The Ascendant getting shredded under the turret there. And Jez is tanking up. That turret does not care. They find 4 for 1 right now off the back of that fight. And Windstorm coming up huge in these AoE fights. That ball just sneaking through. Nobody's really seeing it. And could this be the end of the game? They're pushing in. They've got Baron actually. Alpal's getting absolutely melted there. The Demon Flare was not yet available. Top lane Sucks and Muxar are back up. The other two soon to follow in 5 seconds, but that is an inhibitor down. The Flag and Drag coming in. They find Mark Endo, but it's just a support, and he's taking so long. The Death Sentence comes out once again, and they actually managed to find Muxar. The top lane Sucks having to run for the hills. They're now looking for Windstorm. The Ascendant manages to find him, but Corpit in that backline trying to take Lil Big Baby will be able to find that one. And the Ascendant getting shredded by minions. Corpit for the turnaround. That's a triple kill here for yet another ace. He's going to push it. He's got minions. He does not need to base just yet. And Jez is just pounding away on that mid lane. Not only do they crack that top lane inhibitor, they also get the mid lane inner turret as well. They sent down Mojo Skeletor. He got himself the bot lane inner. So that's all but the 2 base turrets there in the bot and mid side down. And Mojo Skeletor are going to keep going for this bot side. He doesn't have Baron buff though. Did go down, so has to be careful pushing this one. Will have to back out here. And mid lane, Jez is punishing that with the Baron buff. Will be stopped as all of 7 men are back up. And 7 men now in a very, very deep hole. They suddenly have a 10k, 11k deficit on their hands right now. I'm not sure what they can do here. They need to let Ascendant free fire, but they can't. Instead, it's going to be top lane Sucks going down at the beginning of that fight already. Mokstar getting the Cataclysm. This is where the Ascendant needs to be able to put out the damage, but he's not in position. He's too far away. The damage is coming out too late, and they managed to take him down. That's Mojo Skeletor with a double kill, taking out both Mokstar and the Ascendant, and once again, 7 men down. They didn't have everybody there. Where was Little Big Baby? Where was El Paz? You cannot fight with a numbers disparity when you're that deep down. And it looks like Glacial Inferno are going to be able to push in on this fight and win it here after an amazing game 1 where Glacial Inferno had to work their butts off to get back into the game. Game 2 is looking so much easier for them. That mindset, the momentum carrying over for game 1. And they're going to win this one. It looks on a clean 2-0 sweep. But I don't want to call it too soon yet because Mookstar and the Ascendant are both back up. This is the place where they take their last stand under 2 turrets. If they can't win it here, they can't win it anywhere. Little Big Baby is already forced out, did not be able to use the Cyclone. And the Ascendant is caught on the back. He goes down. That's the end of the fight for 7 men. There's no way they're winning this without the Ascendant. Top lane Sucks is getting bursted down. The command Shockwave just used to get 1. And they're gonna go in. The Cyclone finally comes out. It catches 4 twice over, but there's no more damage. Corporate going legendary as he takes Mookstar down. And that's gonna now be Lil Big Baby as well. Alpal's just hiding in his fountain. What's he gonna do? Does not have the Demon Flare. And the minions and Mojo Skeletor, managed to take the Nexus down. That's a clean 2-0 sweep for Glacial Inferno. And they're gonna start the playoffs with huge momentum on their side. And what a game from Glacial Inferno. It just looked like 7 men weren't together, never got their team fight off properly. They just kept respawning, running in without full 5, getting killed, and then they just didn't have everybody available for that wombo combo towards the end there. I think just the pace of the game was so quick. And that is unfortunately one of the issues with 7 men. They are a very bloodthirsty team. It makes for great games, and sometimes it makes for amazing fights against teams that overextend. But at the same time, it also leads to these games where they end up 8-30 there. That 8-30 score is really just a sign that 7 men wanted to brawl and never quite got their AoE composition to go off together. And when you do have an AoE composition, you do need to play around those ultimates, around those timing spikes. If you don't have all your ultimates up, don't fight when you're behind. It's that easy. And on top of that, unfortunately, Lil Big Baby making that questionable decision. We talked about that Maul of Malmortius, in his laning phase, which caused him to not be able to push his lane out. Notice it's not there anymore, which means at some point during the game, he actually sold that item. And selling items is generally not efficient. It looks like he did it in order to try and quickly complete the Death Dance, but it did not work out for him. He ended up 5-1, the least kill participation on his team, and definitely something that 7 men will have to address going forward. And for Glacial Inferno, Corpet, my goodness, 8-1-7, went legendary this game. And Jesus as well, popping off in that early game, 9-1-9, was an absolute monster for his team. I think teams will have to look at giving Corpet Ezreal. Is that a safe option? Is that an option you're willing to do here? Because Corpet has showed that he can carry on the Ezreal here. And with that, that's the game here. Glacial Inferno winning that one in a 2-0 sweep. Congrats to them. And with that, that's going to mess up 7 men's ability to pick who they're going to play against. The standings have changed. There was some competitive ruling as well, so please check that out. And since those games are done, we've just got the one left from Noxus Division, which will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, and that's going to be Exnol facing MG Nitro here. And both those teams currently at the top of the standing, so will definitely be a very, very good and interesting game to watch here between the two, especially looking to see how you can deal with them come the playoffs as well. And with that, we are done for today. Thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this series, because this was a really, really solid series coming out from Glacial Inferno. A joy to watch as well. So if you didn't manage to catch game 1, I would highly recommend you watch it. It was a really good one. And with that, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Peace out. Stay safe.